Hello and welcome to today's show with me on Tough Talk with Faustina Anyanwu. And I'll be speaking with my guest, my first guest on the show, Mr. Eze Ihenacho, who is a self-proclaimed humanity advocate. He's also a mental health professional and an established broadcaster, and also an outspoken Nigerian and a political critic who is, who is outspokenly critical of the present government in Nigeria. Today, I'll be discussing with him the state of the nation, Nigerian nation today. So you stay with us. Thank you, Mr. Ihenacho. Welcome to the show.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Nice to have you. Now,
delighted to be here.
Sorry?
I am delighted to be here.
Thank you. Yeah, on today's show, there are a few things, the Nigerian that we have today. If we look back from 1960 to now, 2018, in your own assessment, has Nigeria made any progress?
Well, thank you for that question. I think it's a brilliant one. You're asking me whether since independence, Nigeria has made any progress. Now, the first thing we all need to know is that Nigeria has never been independent. It's important that we appreciate that. And if you follow my write-up, you would find that I've consistently maintained, wherever you see me writing about Nigeria, I always refer to it as a white elephant called Nigeria. Because from the onset, Nigeria is actually put together to malfunction. Nigeria is put together not for the interest of humanity. Nigeria is put together not for the interest of those who live within that geographical location. And nothing has deprived humanity than the way Nigeria is set. Well, the white elephant called Nigeria is set up. And I would sell humanity short, and I would sell myself short, and I would sell my fellow human beings short if I were to say that Nigeria is a sovereign nation. By the way, it's important you know that there are only a handful of sovereign nations. The rest aren't. And we obviously have had to endure and experience this terrible state of affairs because Nigeria was never independent in the first place. And that's my take, and that's a fact. Am I able to just remind you? Because one of the things I've been trying to stress, and I want to continue to stress, is the lies that underpin our existence worldwide.
Yeah.
And I've grown to appreciate that it is not just about identifying these lies. Identifying them is of no use if we cannot make use of the truth that we have found. I come from the school of thought that identifying lies and not dealing with the lies and using it as caricature or laughing over it or pretending it's not, it doesn't matter. It's as good as having knowledge and not applying that knowledge. That means you are still illiterate. It is also as good as having light, but choosing to walk in darkness. It is. I can also classify it as having sight, but choosing to walk blind. Yeah, I can use different metaphors. I'm quite sure you know that I do enjoy my metaphors. So, understanding these lies that underpin us and people using them to joke about or try to laugh about it or pretend that it's okay to carry on like that is another level of madness that, in fact, it is better to be illiterate, it's better to be stupid, it's better to be foolish than to know the truth and not apply the truth. So yeah, so I can tell you that Nigeria has not made any dot of improvement. What you were seeing in Nigeria and what you will continue to see in the white elephant called Nigeria is flashes. Nigeria is that place is built up to reflect a cake owned by no one, a cake owned by no one. Anyone can come and take. Okay, that is how it is. So it is impossible for that geographical location to function effectively under the way it is shaped up. It's impossible. It is literally, if anybody is hoping that that white elephant would ever produce any good or change for the better in its current status, in its current formation, the person must be psychotic.
Mr. Ihenacho, if I should come in there, what do you think is the key problem with Nigeria? Because if you look at it now, for last regime, led by President Goodluck Jonathan, you could see that Nigerians were fed up with the government, and he was called, President Jonathan was called several unprintable names, and then then came President Buhari. So what is the key issue with Nigeria? Is it the leadership or is it the people?
The key problem with Nigeria is the entire project. The entire project. The entire project is such that, look, people were put together and things like religion, things like tribes, and things like just negative connotations we are now embedded into that. It's like having designed a computer and then you feel all manner of viruses into that computer, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Just to make sure that that computer would never function or function very well. That is what it is. Mm-hmm. Until we understand those viruses and put the proper antivirus.
What are these viruses? Could you mention a few of the viruses, the major, at least three? Let's see.
Well, I've told you the virus is this issue of tribe, okay? This issue of religion, okay? You will find that even if you are the most clever in terms of bringing this geographical location together or giving it the best, the first thing people look at is, where is she from? Oh, she's talking for the Igbos, or she's talking for the Hausas, or she's talking for. I told you that it was put together to make sure it malfunctions, okay? To make sure it will never work. Mm. During Jonathan's regime, Jonathan spent a lot of time trying. I don't support any regime in this white elephant called Nigeria because I know it is all gimmicks. Okay, I know that. So, but during his time, without supporting him, I know that he invested a lot in the north. Okay, but because he's not from the north, that was never going to be enough. He spent those 4 years trying to please the north, trying to do everything. He did not do anything in the south. Okay, he tried, but whatever he did meant nothing, because as far as they're concerned, if it is not somebody from the north, they're not going to arrest.
Now, if President Jonathan failed, let's say he failed from your estimation, did he fail in your estimation, President Jonathan?
Yes, he did fail because I think he didn't quite understand what it means to be a president. Okay, he thought being a president means being nice. Okay, a president is not there to be nice, a president has to be prudent. The president has to be somebody who is, in fact, aggressive with the truth and with getting things in the right order and doing things the proper way, which is, put it this way, you have to ask yourself, what is governance? What is governance?
Okay.
My dear, governance is quite a simple task. Governance is all about ensuring that you value the least amongst you. It's about valuing the least. That means understanding the importance of the least amongst you,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that the least is as critical as the most. Okay, that means your job in government is to make sure that you do whatever it takes to present your nation, okay, and create that enabling environment where every child, irrespective of who gave birth to them, but under your jurisdiction, every child will not only harness, will not only be able to harness, but will also be able to maximize their potentials. That
Okay.
is the integral job of a government. And the first thing a genuine government does is to make sure that they bring every facility, every service they are providing to a standard where you yourself will subscribe to it. If you are in government and you're not subscribing to your own provisions, then you are a thief. You are a monster. You are evil. I call you evil because once you're not subscribing to the provisions that you're giving to the people, okay, then you are sheer evil. You know that you're poisoning the people. You see, I've always told everybody that, look, because Nigeria, that white elephant remains a colony, you don't have presidents there. They are presidents all by name only, okay? Just name. These are administrators. These are, I know they are administrators. That is why when it comes to treatment, they go abroad.
Yeah.
That is why when it, anyway,
Sorry, sorry. Now, in your estimation, and so many of Nigerians, given the names they called the previous government, now, and this time around in this era regime again, we can see so much dissatisfaction from the citizens. Do you think President Buhari has also failed?
I don't call him a president, he's an administrator. And I see him as the worst government that has come in to run, well, I'll call it the worst administration because it's an administrator, it's not a government. A government works for its people, okay? A government is meant to work for its people, it's just an administrator. And you can see it from all the movements, you can see it from everything he does. He's an administrator, he's administering on behalf of, okay? So this is the worst I have seen, okay, in terms of lack of lack of value for human life. The amount of people this guy has killed or allowed to die, or just died. No, it is embarrassing. Okay, it is. I've gone as much as saying that. In fact, to see anybody sitting with Buhari taking pictures, that person loses value immediately in my eyes because you see, I don't advocate for humanity for fun. When you understand what humanity stands for, then you will naturally detest anything that damages humanity. Buhari is first class at doing that. Is Buhari as a person may not be evil, but the character Buhari is totally evil, and I have nothing else to qualify it. And I feel embarrassed that an old man, an old man, an old man. I understand when it comes to the transient nature of this world, and I look at myself and I say, wow, we're all approaching our exit. Who talk of an old man like Buhari? I mean, it's embarrassing to know that this guy says he's leaving.
Now, to his defense, the wife has come out severally to say that his government has been hijacked by cabals. Who do you think are these cabals that will hijack a government?
Well, that tells you about the ineptness of the man, and I don't even and that's why I feel even more embarrassed to hear that he wants to go a second term.
I was gonna come in there, but then
Okay,
carry
you're
on.
gonna
That's
come
fine.
into that, but even isn't it so shameful that even the wife should say that the person that is meant to be the one running the show, somebody else hijacked it from them. I mean, is there any bigger embarrassment? We do know that because of the way this white elephant is structured, okay,
Mhm.
the way it is run is by administrators. These cabals, okay, are the cabals that have always been there. But then it's not just the cabal, it's also the administrators, that is Buhari's cronies. Buhari has got cronies who are actually the main people behind him and pushing him to carry on. Then his foreign masters, okay? Okay, these are the monsters that are stifling the citizens of this geographical location. I struggle to call it Nigeria as a nation because that is not. This is a name that is not quite the name given by anybody from that geographical location. So the identity of the place is still missing. Like I said, what I found out in this life is that until an individual, a community, a country, a continent gives themselves, okay, their identity, okay, that resonates with their personality, because each individual has a personality. Each community has a personality. Each country has a personality. Each continent. If you go and name another person, especially you match them together and give them a fake name, that name would haunt them. Name is critical. We are human beings for a reason. Only animals bear the names you give them, just like that. A human being should have identity, okay? The key here is that whoever you are as an individual, as a community, as a country, as a continent, the first core principle is to make sure that whatever policy, whatever concept, whatever ideology, whatever theory you adopt is not there at the detriment of any other individual, any other community, any other country, any other continent. That is the first key principle, that you're not there to work against another person, another community, another country, another continent. The second principle is that you must ensure that you do whatever is necessary, whatever it takes to make sure that you harness your unique individual, community, national, international qualities. You've got to develop it. You must harness your unique, everybody has a unique thing about them. Every community has it, okay? This is the only time the beauty of this humanity will start coming to be revealed, okay? We are playing games, long aged games that are littered with evil blueprints, and we're destroying ourselves in this planet.
Okay.
So
now, if I should ask you this question, this evil blueprint definitely is not only being played out in Nigeria, but then when you compare most of the countries in other places which that got their own independence within the same time that Nigeria got their independence, you can see that they've moved a mile, at least, or they've moved some miles away from when the time they got their independence. They've managed to make a progress. Example, you can see like India and Singapore, some of the Asian countries are really beginning to move away, from the what's it called now?
You're having interference. I hear you. Yes.
Okay. Did you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Okay, I can hear you now. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying, that this evil blueprint, which we believe that there's an external force, that is stifling Nigeria's progress for obvious reasons. Now, is it only Nigeria as a nation that this evil blueprint is being, played out on? Because I believe that some other nations like Singapore, India, and some other Asian countries, have managed to move some steps further away from that print that we believe is there. So why is it difficult for Nigeria to at least make a move? Because when you look now, from the time of what's his name, Obasanjo to Jonathan to now, you can see that it's as if Nigeria is as if each president that comes moves another 10 steps backwards from where the other person stopped. So instead of coming forward, we are moving backwards. Things are really getting worse than it was. So what do you still think that that Nigeria and Nigerians cannot come above this evil blueprint that is external?
It won't be easy for that white elephant as it is to come through. You must know that, yes, you did mention places like Singapore, Malaysia, and all the rest of the places. These places are different when you compare. Look, there is something about Africa people need to realize. And what is happening in Nigeria is not different from what is happening in elsewhere in Africa. Africa is a different look. You must know that all these nonsense began from the fact that when we are talking about evil blueprint, we must realize that there is this idea that there are people who are humans, there are subhuman. In fact, we have gone from subhuman to having even animal come in somewhere there. Then you have sub animals. If you look at Africa in general, Africa actually currently, and if you look at it factually, are actually under animals. They are now sub-animals. You need to see the rate, you need to understand the psychological rating. How do you qualify that? And how do you get to know what I mean? I've told you, you see the children that are being slaughtered in London, okay? If those were cats, you will see a different reaction. If those were cats being slaughtered by human beings, you see a different reaction. Okay, and I don't have to tell you that just I think 2015 or 2016 there was just one elephant killed in Zimbabwe. You saw the reaction worldwide, but you can see the catalog of thousands of Africans being slaughtered on a daily basis. Okay, it means nothing to anybody. So you need to know that Africa, okay, all these African so-called nations are shared out. They are almost. I don't. In fact, there is. I need to read. I need to. I need to invent a word for it because there is no word yet to this. Because when you understand, when I use evil blueprint, especially in Africa, when you understand it, as I speak now, if I were to tell you that there is an agenda to really, really, really decrease the population of Africa, you might think it's a joke, but there is that agenda, and it is all sorts of mechanisms are being tried to get it done. Okay, and that's why. Anyway, let me not go too deep into it, but you need to understand that Nigeria, that white elephant called Nigeria, and other nations in Africa, okay, they are totally different from India, all these places. No, no, they are totally different. There is a different eye cast on Africa. Africa, okay, people have cast a dangerous eye on Africa that only sees resources in Africa, that is natural resources, without knowing that the real resources in Africa is the citizens of Africa.
Don't you think?
So
Sorry, don't you think that Africans and Nigerians in particular, because we're talking of Nigeria right now, don't you think that it has come to a point where Nigerians themselves need to sit up and take more responsibility? Now we have more, there's more dissemination of information. People are more aware of what is happening in the global scene, and if somebody's really manipulating a nation against themselves, because most of these killings, if you look at it, they are being perpetuated by the same citizens themselves killing each other. Now, if these things are happening and we have a number of people who are not happy about it, why is it that we as a people cannot take a decision and say enough is enough? When is it going to happen? Do you think there is hope that there'll be a time when Nigerian citizens on their own will sit up and say enough is enough?
We were coming to solution. We were just looking at the problem, but now I think you're coming down with the solution. You're coming down for us to deal with issues of the solution. The thing is that obviously, if people that live in that geographical location, do you know that what everything we are saying now would change if somebody like Buhari now says, look, I don't care who the cabals are, I don't care who is instructing me, I don't care. I just want to get this place right. Let's all work together and get this place right. Things will just change. Okay?
Mhm.
Now, alternatively, okay, being that I need everybody that lives within this geographical location. I don't even like calling it Nigeria, because whenever I call it Nigeria, there is something that I know is not right, because that's not a name given to that place by the people that live in that place. Okay? So the people who live in that place need to now very quickly understand that they are being run by an administrator, that there are cabals that have always had their hands in the pie. These cabals are responsible for there not being 24-hour light. These cabals are responsible for what's happening. This meeting no longer has a time limit. Okay, okay. I had an instruction, but I've dealt with it. Yeah. So these cabals are responsible for there not being a quality hospital serving the people of Nigeria. These cabals have been responsible for bad, everything you see going wrong is these cabals. Okay, so the people from the north, from the south, from the east, from the west, the people that are suffering this need to come together. This is the only way out. Come together, throw away the stupid religion nonsense. Because I know why I know it's stupid and nonsense. I know it.
Yeah. Now you see. Okay. Now let me come down to other African nations. Recently, Rwanda on their own have they've abolished. I think.
Shut down. They shut down churches
Yeah, they're shutting down churches. They're not just churches, religious places.
Yes.
That they deem irrelevant or causing kind of nuisance for the society. Also, there's another nation. I think it's also Rwanda that said, they've banned any foreign adoption of their children. These are steps that a leadership and a country which, and mind you, these countries, Nigeria included, they say they are they are democratic. They practice democracy. Therefore, we have senators or whoever. So, in the House of Assembly, what are the role? Do you think the senators are they not supposed to hold the president to account by before demanding what they want and voting on things and being able to impeach a leader who is not performing? Why are Nigerian representatives, senators, why are they not performing their jobs?
Yeah. They are not performing because they know that they are working under an administrator. They know that their government is accountable to Britain. Now, I don't know whether you have listened. I watched one particular senator stand up there highlighting all the problems, and I was feeling happy, and I was feeling happy, I was feeling happy. And then what he said that made me feel, oh yeah, we finished again. This place is doomed. When he said, we will let the international community to come and see what is happening here, then I knew we are done. Now that tells you that the entire structure is confused. They don't know what they're doing. That's why I believe that if ever this place will change, the man on the street will need to stand up and be counted. The woman
exactly. I was going to say that. Don't we think that most of the things that are happening is more of, corruption that's eating into the fabric of the nation? Because an average citizen of Nigeria at the moment, doesn't have any problem with doing some shoddy, things to get away with,
yes.
get on with it.
Yes, yes. Corruption is at an epidemic level. And this is so because of the factor I raised earlier. The factor of the way this place is put together. It's put together so that nobody claims it as its own. Okay? You can, if I ask you now, do you love this place called Nigeria? deep down, you find that the love you have for it is just because you want, when you go there, you get organic food or you meet your siblings. Not necessarily that you love it. So, and this is how a majority of people that claim to be serving in that place views it. Okay, nobody. Oh, look, you can only give service to something you love. You can only give service passionately to something you love. An average government official in Nigeria love Dubai, love England, love America more than
Because those places have been, have been built, and there's security and all that. Why can't we have those?
Yeah, all they want is to grab it. All they want is to grab enough to make sure they can go to the places they love. They don't necessarily love they're only there as a source where they can grab what they can grab.
Do you think? Do you really think? Do you really think Nigerians in England love England, or they just love that things are working?
No, not that they love it. Yeah, put it this way: the thing is that there is something called love of a nation, love of a community where you came from. When you loving of a nation means loving yourself and loving your neighbor. We don't have that. That's why I tell you there is problem with Africa generally in terms of.
Where I'm struggling to really get the point, is this. Now, when you watch Nigerians in Britain, in diaspora, watch Nigerians in what's it called, in America and other places, you see their attitude. They still bring that attitude, that Nigeria thing. They still bring it there, which is now even giving Nigeria a very bad name all over the world. Where when you look like here, you can't count up to 10 people committing fraudulent, crimes in terms of benefits and financial fraud and things like that, and you wouldn't see a Nigerian there. So that this thing, what is this? Do you still think is this cabal, or is this something that is within our culture that is making these things to happen like this?
Is the lack of love for what you see? People formulate culture that protect them because of the love they have for themselves and the particular place they come from. Remember, the love you have for your parents is the love that protected you from harm when you're outside. You think about the shame, okay, the shame and how your parents would feel. That actually goes up a notch. You feel about the shame of the community. You don't want to shame your community. You don't want to shame your nation. But where there is no nation, where there is no community, where there is no family, where families are now telling you that you can actually just be rich. That's all. Doesn't matter how you do it. So there is no shame now. There is no love linked to it. I've kept saying it. Human beings, unlike animals, have to be nurtured to a level where they begin to think right and act properly.
Okay, now, not interrupting you now. Let's see a way forward. Now. 2019 is coming, and we have seen, tens of people coming forward that, declaring their interest, including President Buhari, who is already, a government that we believe is failed, has also declared his interest coming back. Now, what are we looking for? Who like, what character, what embodiment, what are we looking for that will convince us that, okay, this is the man who can begin the process? Because
the man or woman, we need to.
When I say a man, I mean human. So man, I'm using man now as you know what I mean. Yeah. So who is this human that that we think can start the process of piecing Nigeria back together again? Because I don't think in the next 10, 20 years, Nigeria can come back to where we'll be so proud of it. But at least so the process
We,
can be
so
started.
the person that can give us at least the foundation to build on,
Mhm.
right? The characteristics of this person. You know, if I am a politician, or if nature would allow me, I would have gone to do it. But I know the forces that will kick against it. Now, I would need somebody who thinks a little bit without being bigoted, but thinks a little bit like me. We need someone who, first of all, understands who they are. You have to know who you are, because when you get to know who you are, then you would know who the other person is, and then you will know what humanity is. We need somebody who understands that humanity is man and woman, excluding all else, and that man and woman are here to collaborate, to cooperate, to complement, and to work in partnership. Right? That's the first. The person must know this. Then the person must know the importance of the least amongst us. These are the key principles. They must know the importance of the least amongst us, because when you get to know the importance of the least amongst us, then you are going to begin to devise policies.
If you watch, so these things now that you're saying, knowing the importance, knowing who they are, knowing the importance of the least person and the things that you've listed, these are intrinsic factors that make up a person. How does the next person out there know that this person knows this or has this value? What are the signs that we need to look out?
You see, if I were running, I'll say to the nation, look, I'll be offering myself to serve. And I'll make it clear that a servant is not here to pay you. So I'm not going to be bribing anybody to serve them. If you're looking for people to bribe you in order to serve you, good luck to you. Because I can assure you these people are thieves, okay? Nobody bribes to give service, okay? So I am coming in to create an enabling environment. You see, when you have that in mind, that you are an enabler, and that enabling environment is primarily geared to sourcing out the talent of every child.
Now, if you see, like last year, when the not last year, when 2 years, 3 years ago, when the Buhari government, when they were campaigning for this election, they try every way possible to prove to the people that this is a man of integrity, this is a man who has never looted, and this is a man who is they try to show that he hasn't got money. He's actually a humble man and all those kind of things, which we all saw from whatever, whether I don't know whether it's media propaganda or whatever, but they did show people that look, this man is coming for the good and he's coming to eradicate, to fight corruption. But now all those printed promises, and including eradicating Boko Haram, those problems are still plaguing Nigeria, including new ones which have come. That's the Fulani herdsmen and the killings and all that, including disappearance of Nnamdi Kanu of Biafra, the what's it called? Is it Biafra something? The movement that.
IPOBS.
Yes. So now, with all the promises, if we are going to base selecting the next leader from what they are saying and what they are showing us, don't you think we are still going to make the same mistake?
Now, you see, it depends on what people are saying. If you look at, I knew that Buhari wasn't going to do it. I knew it because all you had is just propaganda. There was nothing coming from the man to show us that he knew what he was talking about. Okay? Now, there are key things a leader must say. And before you can begin to see the genuineness of what they are talking about. Okay?
Yeah.
If a leader tells you, look, I mean, if it's somebody like me, I'll be saying, look, honestly speaking, I hate to lead anybody. I don't want to lead anybody. But I'll be looking at my age now, and I'm asking myself, is there something I have not eaten? If I haven't eaten something and I haven't eaten it, I don't think I need to eat that thing now. It will disrupt my system. I'm happy the way it is. I can run like this now until I give way, because I must give way. Now, I need to be looking at how, because I understand the creativity in humanity. I also understand that the reason why it looks as if we are all struggling is because we are not actually helping people to maximize, even harness their creativity. I know
Now,
that
how do you, if you have this agenda and you're genuine,
yeah,
how do you convince an average Nigerian to believe that, yes, you are different?
convince an average Nigeria is to say, look, these are the things you judge me by.
Okay.
Give them clear example. Now, for me, if I go into government in Nigeria, that I will never go abroad for treatment. I will never. Because that means as soon as I get in there, I'll be doing everything possible to bring the hospital up to standard. I will make it clear, say, look, the worst I can do is to fly in expertise from abroad.
At one point, Buhari did criticize past leaders of using foreign
Yeah. No, but
foreign
you see,
government and
yeah.
health tourism. So, and the same way he said that, he came back and he was the one even using it more than any other person. So, how would a Nigerian believe that you
No.
are telling them the truth?
Yeah, look, he said that, he called it foreign medical tourism, yeah? But he didn't say what he was going to do to change it. And you see, we have weak journalism in Nigeria, okay? Because like you are now asking this question, if we had brilliant journalism, they would ask him, look, with the way, with the hazardous nature of medical treatment in this country, what are you going to do to make sure you don't go abroad? Or you don't allow any of your cronies to go abroad? What are you going to do? Because that's the next question. Because without doing that, the persuasion to go abroad will come.
Mr. Ihenacho, let me ask you again now. See, why I'm asking this question, I want to help our citizens, Nigerian citizens, to begin to build and look out for what, to start searching for what they need, because we really have a lot of people now coming out that wants to be the next president. So we really need to get the nitty-gritty of it so that we don't make the same mistake again. From the time when I was a child, that was in primary school, from as long as I can remember, I know that every single government that comes, their campaign promises has always been road, electricity, water, road, electricity, water. And up to today, Nigeria still cannot boast of electricity. Neither can we boast of regular water supply. So most places don't even have borehole or even network of tap water. Most places don't even have not had electricity wired in their place, let alone having power there. And how many years now since 1960? And each time we keep on having politicians coming on to tell us this is what they're going to do, and at the end of the day, they're not going to do it. So how do an average Nigerian believe that this particular guy or woman who is promising all these things is actually serious and going to do it?
Well, the only way, like I've always said, is to judge. And when you give promises, you have to give it and say, look, I would resign once you can prove to me that I've defaulted in my promise. I would resign. Okay? When I say I am going to, I would no longer, and I'm going, if I say I'm going to give you 24-hour light, if you give me just in the first 1 year, I will make sure we have 24-hour regular light. Now, you see, a leader must be somebody who has vision and ready to die for his vision. Okay? Then when you, because you're dealing with your soul, you're not dealing with the physical. And the problem is that such leader Nigerians might not want. Okay, they might not want, because that's not what they are looking for. Everybody's looking to go and steal, because
Don't you think that's the issue? That's the problem. Nigerians.
That is the biggest problem. But you see, but I'm telling you that this is the only way out. The only way out is a total commitment to humanity, to say, look, this is a rescue mission, because I hate the fact that human beings are wasting. This is talents being wasted. These children you are seeing could be the next reinventors of something that is so big. You will see that this world is so massive. People think it's too small, but it's all locked. It's all locked inside them. Nobody is doing anything to give them the environment to harness this thing.
Okay. Now we're running against time. You know, our time is running against us. Well, the next thing what I'm going to ask you is this. Now we have all these people coming out. We have some young people, some middle age, and still the old cargoes and Atiku, Buhari, everybody. Now, you know, who is the man at the moment? Is there any credible candidate we can start looking at the moment?
Well, I'm still searching, I can assure you, but the ones that I can categorically say to the Nigerian electorates not to make sure that they turn away from anything called Buhari, anything called Atiku. The reason why I say that is that if you can't bleed when you are 40, you can't bleed when you're 70. It's impossible. So these two people must strike out of their minds. I mean, I posted something the other day asking whether Buhari, as he is, can actually be a member of parliament in England, let alone. Yeah, he can't. He can't. He hasn't got what it takes, okay, to represent just a local authority. Okay, he hasn't got it. So I need to tell Nigerians to. The other thing Nigerians must do, and I keep saying, the electorates must keep an eye on those who are giving them handouts. I say to them, if they have been cultivated and cultured and conditioned to be taking money because of the situation they find themselves, let them take the money. But take that money and know that the person that gave it to you is a thief. Because nobody gives you money to serve you. No genuine servant will pay you to serve you. Service is not easy. Okay. So you look out for those. You look out for those who are saying to you that they will never go to hospital abroad. Okay. That they will resign if they default. That they would never send their children abroad for education because they are here to commit to turn things around for the populace. That they are going to build the infrastructure right here that will service not only them, but the people that elected them to serve them. If you want to continue traveling abroad or use hospitals abroad, don't offer yourself for service. Nobody is forcing you.
Okay. In conclusion, Mr. Ihenacho, now, what, very briefly and in a very concise way, what do you want to tell any incoming person, anybody who wants to, all the aspirants and all that? What singular advice are you going to give them?
The advice I give them is, please search your soul. Forget about the hype. Search your soul. Look at your face, yourself in the mirror, and take a good look at the people that are on their knees. Look at those babies. Look at those children and ask yourself, what does the future hold for these children? If you're not serious about delivering them from this tunnel, these are your children, all of them. And what do you think? Just look. If you're not equipped, please stand aside. Please. That's all I'm asking. If you can't do it, just give way. Please.
Okay.
I'm on my knees. I can go on my knees to beg.
Yes, we do anything that whatever it takes, now whatever is morally right for us to
and get. Can I send a message to anyone who is, whether outside or crony or whatever, you are going to leave this world, whether you like it or not, okay? Just like the rest of us, okay? The madness of looking to destroy humanity needs to stop because you are stopping yourself in the process. When you seek out to stop an individual, a community, a nation, you're stopping yourself too. So you need to know that. This is a delusional nonsense you're doing. You better learn first. Okay. Learn first.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ihenacho. We're gonna do, this this interview that we are doing is to, like, to ginger up the populace, the Nigerian citizens, to make people to begin to think for themselves and see what is the way forward. So I'm grateful that you're here today to share your views and your opinion, and I hope that an average Nigerian will tap into all what we've discussed today, and we begin to implement this in Nigeria. Because myself, I would be very glad to be doing what I'm doing right in my home, Nigeria, and giving my talents to my nation as much as I can. So thank you so much again, Ms. Ihenacho. And this is Tough Talk on C.Hub magazine with me, Faustina Anyao. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.